Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to another EGL Treats. I am Ori, and this is
Allegra.
and we are bringing you today baked bats and witches' fingers for our Gramarye Afterlife baking edition. Thank you so much for joining us.
So today we have two cookies we're going to share with you guys. Our first one is a hold on.
You can do it.
Changing screens. Our first one is witch's fingers, which are a simple sugar cookie flavored with vanilla and almond, with a almond fingernail and some raspberry jam for an extra bloody touch. And our second cookie.
This one is actually a throwback to our first ever EGL treat. So this is a mock Oreo bat cookie sandwich, and we're very excited to be making these again, a tribute to what got us started in the first place.
Yes, this is an homage and an updated version of those first cookies. So that video is on our YouTube channel, which we don't really post on that much anymore, but it is there.
But it is there if you want to see it. So yeah, so we're really excited to bring these guns to you guys.
All right, so I'm going to swap us over to our overhead view, and shall we? So to start off, I'm going to start making the dough for our fingers. Molly says, you just got a hi banner for a minute. Hi, Banner!
Banner is a very excellent bird. We have been blessed with the hello from.
Thank you, Banner, for blessing and stream.
Oh, Ellie is on too. Nice.
Hi, Ellie.
It's fun to see everybody on. All right, I'll let you do the cookie dough and I'll
Okay.
with the chat.
So as I said, this is a simple sugar cookie dough. Sugar cookie dough. So I'm going to start off by creaming our butter. This is just unsalted butter. This is 8 tablespoons or 1 stick. We have it pre-sliced in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump this all in our mixing bowl with the paddle attachment. All right, so I'm just going to beat this for a few seconds just to loosen it up. I've had my rings on for like 2 seconds.
Oh, Melissa is on. Hi. Excited to bake with you too.
Hi. All right, that looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to sift in my powdered sugar. We're using 2 types of sugar in this recipe. We've got powdered and we've got regular granulated. So I'm going to go ahead and sift in the powdered sugar.
Yeah, that looks good. All right, I'm going to do this spatula to facilitate.
I'm going to move this.
It's been a second since we did one of these. So.
Out of the way.
Would you like some help? Here, I can hold this for you.
Hold this for me
so I don't get powdered sugar everywhere. The more hands in a kitchen, oftentimes the better.
Yes.
Powdered sugar got damp. Okay. So there's 2 types of powdered sugar in this one because it gives it a really nice, soft texture to it. The powdered sugar is going to give it a really soft bite, but you do want a little bit of granulated sugar in there to also give it a little bit of structure, help with that creaming of the butter. Right.
So both together is great. And a little tip in case you want to join and your butter is still cold. I always have this habit of cutting it into tablespoon slices. And then if you haven't, set it out to soften, you can just lay those slices out on a plate and microwave it for like 10 seconds or so. That'll really make it faster. I saw a trick on the internet, and I have not tried this, so I cannot vouch. But I saw a trick where you get like a metal or heat-proof bowl and you pour hot water in it till it heats up, and then you dump it out and you put the bowl upside down over the butter. And leave that for like a minute or 2, and that softens it right up, allegedly. I have not tried it.
MacGyvering your butter.
But I feel like that's a pretty non-committal experiment to do. So I don't know, maybe try it. If you do, let us know how it works out for you. All right, so I'm going to, so I got my powdered sugar in there, sifted out all the clumps so I don't have any surprises. I'm going to add in our granulated, and I'm going to beat this.
You know what else? We got the salt.
Oh yes, and the salt. So all your, so got wet. All right.
Spatula is always my friend.
Yes. All right, so we've added, we've got, our butter, 2 types of sugar, and our salt. So I'm just gonna let that beat until it's nice and combined and light and fluffy. I'm a big microwave simp. I just go with that route. I mean,
The microwave is your friend. Technology is your friend. Microwaves and food processors. We love them in this kitchen.
Or if you have your oven preheating, you can put the stick of butter on your stovetop, and that'll melt it too. But you just gotta be careful so it doesn't turn to.
Just keep your eye on your butter.
Just keep your eye on it.
Yeah. That's looking pretty good. Okay. You don't need to cream this like super pale or anything. Just get some air into it, get it fluffy.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to add a half teaspoon of,
Yes, let's do this one.
a half teaspoon of vanilla and a half teaspoon of almond extract. So she's going to add vanilla extract, and you could use just vanilla if you prefer vanilla, or just almonds if you really want to go
Really
hard on the
almondy,
almonds.
yeah.
You could also do orange. You could do rose. Almond and rose would be nice. You know,
Yeah, it's a great base to work with. Any
Choose-
flavor you want to throw in.
choose your own adventure flavoring situation. And
And,
maybe if you're going for a certain kind of jam, maybe whatever pairs well with that jam you go for.
Got Elliot says, one of these days I'll have one of those lovely stand mixers. Yes, stand mixers are, they're an investment, but boy, do they make everything so nice.
And also KitchenAid brand is like indestructible.
Oh, yeah,
so
it'll
it'll
last
last you forever. It'll be with you for the rest of. I believe this KitchenAid, my mom got in the '80s as a wedding present.
Yeah,
So
and
that
she's still here with
if
us.
that tells you how old she is. So all right, so I've added my flavorings. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of egg.
Oh, a note on this one. So I cut this recipe in half to make a more reasonable amount of cookies.
Yes.
So you'll want to whisk a whole egg and then just scoop 2 tablespoons out of that. That is what
Yeah.
that means.
If you're going to follow this part of the recipe correct.
Yes.
So
And
a bit
there
of an
are
extra step,
also
but worth it.
vegan and gluten-free variations of this recipe are available. So please check those out if you have other dietary needs.
Yeah. All right, so I've added my egg. So I've done all of my wet ingredients are in here. So we're gonna let that beat till it's nice and smooth. I'll take it out and show you guys. I should have shown you between the steps, so I apologize, but that's okay.
And these cookies are actually a throwback in a different way, which I don't know if I mentioned to you, Allegra, but there was a bakery that I worked for in high school, and I joined on with them shortly after Halloween, and they had made way too many of these witch's fingers cookies, and they would just give them to me in like giant paper bags, and just be like, you know what, kid, please just take these away. We don't want to see them
I don't want to
anymore.
look at these anymore.
So I would show up to high school for about 2 or 3 weeks with just a backpack full of witch's fingers and just like pass them out to the other kids.
Good way to make
Like,
fun.
excuse me, would you like a finger? Would you like a finger? Just, good memories with my strange backpack full of cookies.
Just peddling cookies.
That's right.
Just slinging cookies. Okay. Just break down the sides to make sure I get everything so there's not any surprises.
Melissa says, oh, finger heaven, we got nom nom. Finger peddling. Yeah.
All right. That looks pretty good, yeah?
Oh yeah, that looks great.
Okay, now I'm going to add my flour. I'm going to sift that in as well. All right.
Yes, I will
Would you
gladly
hold
hold the spatula.
I mean, I could probably get the flour in there without taking the top off. It's just way,
It's
it's
just
just way
easier.
more of a hassle. And if I have an extra pair of hands, then why not? All right, so I'm gonna add in the flour. Oh, let me show you guys what this looks like. We've got butter. Yeah, I can't see the light. That's okay. We've got butter. We got flour. Pretty straightforward cookie recipe. Nothing too fancy going on here.
Oh, Elliot says a finger food, which is,
Indeed.
thank you, that is very good.
Double entendre.
I love this recipe because it's such an easy one. It's really just basically things in the bowl, more things in the bowl, last thing in the bowl, done. Yep, which is great. And it's a really good recipe too.
I'm gonna put this on low so the flour doesn't go everywhere. Just to start off with. Yeah, and that will speed it up once it's
And with this, a lot of times the recipe will say mix until just combine. With this one, it's actually better if you scrape it and just keep an eye on it and let it keep mixing until it's like one cohesive ball. If you're mixing this by hand, again, just get in there with your arm and just mix it till it's all one thing together. It just makes shaping and other things easier.
had a really fun time thinking of these two recipes in particular. Again, a little trip down memory lane with Halloween classics.
I think a little more.
A little bit more. You can get speed up a little bit. Yeah, that's good.
All right. So we are at this stage now.
You can kind of see it more on the paddle, the way that it all holds together. That's what you want to look for.
Kind of spongy.
And I'm going to show this really quickly. Sorry.
Go ahead.
If you press it and you can see that it kind of smooths and holds its shape, well, that light is making this difficult, but that's what you want to look for. There you go. So, you know, it's got this smooth texture to it. When you press it, you're good to go. Very nice to shape. I will grab you some plastic wrap for that here.
So I'm just gonna scrape this off the paddle and then scrape down the edges and maybe give it one final stir to make sure everything's in one cohesive lump. And then we're going to slap it into some plastic wrap and then put it in the fridge.
Yes.
So it'll get nice and stiff. And we have some pre-made dough. We have some pre-made dough that we'll pull out, so we don't have to wait for this to set.
Right.
Through the magic of streaming television.
So you want to let this basically cool for at least an hour before you shape it. But we had one made in advance. The American mod knows she thick. Thank you, thank you. We love a thick dough.
It smells good too.
We also have poke the batter, which is correct. Anything that you can get familiar with baking-wise with your hands is great. Being able to visualize things is good and see like, okay, that's done, but feeling things often is one of the most reliable ways that you know that you're done with something.
Yeah. Being a baker, I feel like, or any type of person who works with food, you have to use all of your senses to know when something's ready.
That's right, that's
Or
right.
something's proper. Your eyes, your hands, your nose.
Yeah.
Like, I always, by default, if I can smell whatever I'm baking, then I'm like, oh, it's probably done.
Yeah, I will take that paddle for you. It's this because we're going to use this same stand mixer to mix our chocolate dough next.
Yeah. We're just going to go straight into our chocolate dough with this because it's a light colored dough and it's a dark colored dough. So we don't really, as long as we scrape it out, it can be good. It'll be fine. Yay.
Small friend, oh yes, if you hear shuffling around in the background here, we have not one but two dogs who are very eagerly awaiting any dropping of any tasty morsels here. They're being very patient. Yes, different small friend. It is, in fact, Daisy, the pug, who was with us in our Pride round table.
Oh, yeah, so
She will now make a gentle appearance because she will let me pick her up. But Marshy, our little weedy dragon from last year's Gramarye, is down there, and he will not let me pick him up. So we'll see if he will make an appearance.
Daisy is the most important, most influential panelist.
That's right.
I have really important thoughts to share.
We're doing a gender bent Persephone's and Hades right now, and Daisy clearly is Cerberus. That's the most fearsome dog in the house.
I mean, it's true though.
Yes, Elia, we will tell them that you love them. They are good dogs.
All right, that's good.
Nice.
That's all right.
Actually, I'm going to spatula, so don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to sort of form this into a square as I can get it.
Yeah. You don't have to roll this dough out, so it's not like you have to shape it super perfectly, because we're just going to pull into pieces later.
Yeah. I think just getting it to a sort of even height is good so that
It'll cool
at the
evenly that way.
same rate.
Yeah.
So just like that is perfect.
Yeah. Comment, the guardian of the underworld. That's right. If anyone can do it, it's Daisy.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started on our chocolate faux Oreo cookie dough. So I'm adding butter to the bowl. another stick that we have pre-cut here. So the secret to this one, how you get that really great Oreo taste, is actually a different kind of cocoa powder. So there's regular cocoa powder, and then there is also Dutch processed or alkalized cocoa powder, which is probably what most people see at the store because it has better flavor. But if you take that same alkalizing process and you do it way, way further, it will turn the cocoa black. And that is why Oreos have that dark black color to them, is because they use black cocoa powder. And it just has a really distinctive, yeah, there we go. That's our baking soda and our cocoa powder is already mixed together.
It looks kind of light under this lighting, but it is much darker than regular cocoa powder.
Yeah, so this is already the two cocoa powders blended together. I'm going to sift that in.
Turn off the light. You can see how dark this is.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah, it's much darker. Or I can show you guys in the
You'll see it when the dough is fully mixed. It's really noticeably dark.
and you can see how dark the cookies were in their final state. Yeah, and that there is no food coloring or anything of that nature added to the dough. It's just from the cocoa powder. And it adds a really distinct cocoa flavor from regular.
Okay, so I got my butter in the bowl. This one, we got, hold on, salt. And us kind of regular granulated sugar. So all of that's going to go in the bowl together.
Elia would like to know where you can get alkalized processed cocoa.
It's probably the easiest, most reliable if you can buy it online. But if you have any stores that have a little bit of a wider baking selection, any stores that have like a really reliable section of King Arthur or Bob's Red Mill, they usually have them if you're looking for a good black cocoa.
Is there a brand you recommend?
My absolute favorite, and you have to buy this one online, is Berry Calibo. But it's
Yes.
a really, really deep, intense chocolate taste on that one. It's really good, and it's what I have here because I preferred it for work. So
Berry Calibo is a very reliable and good brand.
So I'm going to go ahead and cream this together. This you don't need to get too fluffy. It's just really to get the sugar and salt incorporated here because we want a nice crispy cookie.
The giant chocolate bars you can get at Trader Joe's are Trader Joe's branded Berry Calibo bars.
Yeah, that's a good secret. If you ever want really good baking chocolate, get the Pound Plus from Trader Joe's. It's really great chocolate.
And it's a better price than buying it with the Berry Calibo label on it.
That's right. Okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to show you guys the bowl on this one. I'll give it a scrape. But see, this is not very fluffy. With this one, the more granulated sugar you have left in it, the crisper the texture is going to be. And I really like that snap in these bats. So I'm not going to cream this too far, but I am going to make sure that there are no chunks of butter that haven't been mixed into everything. Yeah, the first time we recreated this recipe, because this is another recipe from a different bakery I used to work for. The first time we did it, I was feeling kind of shy on the cocoa powder. I was like, yeah, well, let me not make it too extreme or anything. And it was good. But this time we used double the amount, so it's 50-50 on alkalized cocoa powder and black cocoa powder.
Yeah, we weren't shy.
And it's good. It was a really big improvement. So don't be afraid of the black cocoa.
It's a really nice chocolate
strong.
flavor. It's not too sweet, nice and salty, because you have the sweet white chocolate filling. So that really helps balance the sweet and saltiness of each of the cookie and the filling. So it's really good. Elia says that they got the Hershey's Special Dark, which is the bitters they had at Smith's, their local grocery store. I'm sure that will work just fine, Elia.
That sounds very good.
Okay.
That is looking good. So next thing, put that bowl here. But try not to trip over the dog.
Yeah, try not to step on anybody. I'm sorry.
We've got two friends crashing around back here. Okay, so this is a cup of flour, and then we've got 1/4 cup each of regular cocoa powder, and also the black cocoa powder, and some baking soda. So making sure there's no lumps in anything, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Hey.
Go ahead and sift this so we don't have any lumps of cocoa powder.
Or, yeah, he's got a very loud. I hear you.
He's a Kelpie Corgi mix, so he's quite vocal. Okay, so we have that. And I'm going to mix these all together. So again, make sure that we don't have any lumps or anything like that, and get our flour well incorporated with the cocoa. And then this is going to go in the bowl, and it's going to get all mixed together, and that's it. This one, when we mix it, it's going to look a little crumbly in the bowl, and that's fine. You want to stop when you see that it's mostly cohesive, like half cohesive, half crumbled. And at that point, we're going to dump it out onto some plastic wrap, and we'll just fold it and work it in together until it's a solid dough.
And we don't get your hands covered yet.
Yes, that too. That is an added bonus. So this can all just go in at once.
Don't make it. He's the kind of dog, if you look at him, he's like, why aren't you paying attention? And he starts screaming in your face.
Another tip for this also, because this cocoa is so black, do be gentle on your speeds. Don't ramp it up all at once or you're going to have black cocoa everywhere.
Yes.
This one is great as it is with the filling that we'll show you, but it's also a really solid dough if you want to make your own homemade Oreo bits or crumbles for things.
Yes.
It's really quite good.
We'll show you, but after you stamp out the back cookies, there's a lot of scraps. And you could either reform them and stamp more cookies, or what we like to do is just bake off the scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're really good for dipping in milk or just eating.
So I want to show you that at this point, it basically looks like sand. That is okay. You need to keep mixing it more until these form large clumps together. So you see yours and you're like, why is this sandy?
That's the liquid.
Fine.
Where's
That's
the liquid?
good. You don't need to add anything. Just keep mixing. Yeah.
It's coming together. You do have to be a little patient, but it will get there. Get every ounce of moisture out of that butter.
That's right.
That's the trade-off with the black cocoa is
It takes longer to form a dough because it absorbs so much moisture.
that is one thing.
Oh yeah, we're starting to get there.
It's happening.
We got bubbles going on.
It's happening.
Good. If you're doing this by hand, you can basically just don't even bother with the spoon or anything. Just get in there with your hands and work it together. Press it between your fingers to get those clumps, basically.
And the heat from your hands will help it too. It will make better.
Yep, that's totally right. Speaking of which, I'm going to take these rings off so I can.
I had my rings on for about 10 seconds and then I turned them off. We just have a ring pile. Right here. Ring cam.
Okay, so what we have now basically looks like Oreo crumbs. When you have that texture, you can stop. I'm going to pull out a really large piece of plastic wrap here. You want a decent amount so you have some length to work with to fold it in. You may also find that it just kind of pressed itself to the side of the bowl. That's also okay. Just use this back, the towel or your hands to loosen it.
Yay.
Okay. So once you have that, just go ahead.
Well, one easy trick to turn sand into Oreos. Yep, that's right.
Just go ahead and gently put that into the center of your plastic wrap.
This is actually ash from the underworld that we've just mixed into a cookie.
That's right. That's right. A different kind of afterlife experience.
It's just smoke from our funeral fire.
So if you take both ends of your plastic wrap
Here, let's
fold them together.
let me put it on the
Press them down.
put it on the big one. There you go.
And then
See a
take
little
the other
better.
end. And then press. And try to be delicate again, or to be delicate rather, to not make too much of a mess of your counter, but also press firmly. And like Allegra was saying, the moisture, the warmth of your hands will help. Also, it's still better, yeah. And seal it up here and just press it with your hands, and you'll feel it form together. What also helps with this is if you fold it over onto itself. So now I have it in mostly one dough. I'm going to kind of curl the ends in on itself here.
Do another layer.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
And now this one, because you are going to be rolling it out, do try to press it into a rectangular shape. Because that's just going to, starting with the shape that you want to end up with in general is the way to go for rolling things out.
So you have a rectangle to begin with, and you want your end result to also be a rectangle.
That's
You're halfway there.
Get a towel to wipe off the counter and pop this in the fridge.
Okay.
This also needs to rest for an hour.
I'm going to move the mixer so we have more surface area for cutting and decorating and all that. And not try and step on any of the dogs. Marshall likes to be very
He's very underfoot.
involved.
You can see his tail, just a little ear popping out over there.
Luckily, he doesn't get too bent out of shape if he gets stepped on. Which I try not to step on him, obviously. But
Sometimes it's hard. Being part corgi, it is unfortunately just the right shape to constantly be just under your feet. But he takes it height and stride.
yeah, there's there's Daisy.
Okay, there he is. So, the next thing we're going to want to do is roll out the dough that we had made in advance. So I have a smaller amount of dough here, just a little half recipe. So my tip for rolling this out is to roll it out with parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 345. So you're going to want to take one piece of your parchment and then your dough. See, the nice thing for letting it rest is it gets a better hydrated, basically. The moisture that is in the dough from the butter has more time to work itself into the cocoa butter. And then I'm going to take another piece of parchment and we're going to roll it in between these. This is really great because it gives you the ability to move your dough as you leave. It's just more control.
You have to handle less with your hands. So
that's right.
Elia says, I love the perfectly aesthetic vinyl tail. Yeah, Joanne's.
Thank you. Joanne's really delivered for us this year.
Joanne's. We have matching plates too.
Yes, so we're going to plate them on.
We're going to plate them on, so stay tuned.
So every time I roll out dough, I always start by just pressing down on it first to thin it out a bit. And that warms it up a little bit too, so that it's easier to roll it in one even movement afterwards. Mm-hmm. So now I was out, going to go for about a 1/4 inch thickness. And then last time we made these, we made some seriously big fat cookies.
Yeah, they were like 3.5 inches, something like that. They were crazy. It was like a whoopie pie.
They looked very
almost
reasonable on their own.
Yeah.
And then we started filling them and we were like, oh my god, this is a
once
massive
they got
cookie.
like triple the thickness, it was like, whoa, hold on. It's like a whole meal. The people are saying that it looks like fudge. It does.
Yeah. So you can see. Go ahead and peel this off.
I've been known to eat this dough also raw.
It's really good.
It's really good raw. And
You
there's
can
no
see
egg. There's no
how
eggs
black
in
it
it.
is from that cocoa batter.
And there's no eggs in this too. So
Nope,
if you
it's a
wanted to
shortbread.
have like a cookie dough, you can probably make a really good cookie dough ice cream with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A really good like cookies and cream cookie dough ice cream with this.
This other parchment, I'm going to save it here. I'm going to turn it so the dirty part is down. and we're going to use it to bake off our fingers later. So no waste happening here. But a much cuter, more reasonable size for a cookie sandwich. We found this really cute 2 3/4 inch bat. I love him. He's everything I didn't know I needed in this kitchen, and he's great. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out.
And where did you get him?
Oh, I put the link in our recipes, but this is an Anna Clark cookie cutter. She's a designer who makes a lot of cookie cutters, and you can find a lot of her stuff either via her website or Sur La Table, those types of places. Anywhere they sell these metal guys, it's usually her. But Daiso has a really cute one this
Daiso has
year
a bat
too.
one. I'm sure other places that have cookie cutters, Joann's, probably at Halloween time, have a bat of some sort, I would imagine. Pretty standard Halloween motif. I think finding one shouldn't be too hard, but you have to look online if you're trying to get one now.
But for the non-Halloween season too, you can just cut these into circles and then make great waffle wheels. But whatever shape you want, really.
You could do a pumpkin. You could do a ghost. Whatever.
Well, tombstones would be good too.
Yes.
I mean, this, if you bake off the crumbs, there's all this little extra trim, and then you break that up, there's your gravy burger.
There you go.
Very tasty.
Perfect.
So I have cut our little bats out, and you can go ahead and try to move them now, but they'll come out a lot cleaner if you slide a pan underneath them. And I'm going to pop these in the freezer for a few minutes. And then once these are nice and cold, you can just lift all the trim off.
It's much easier to separate without worry about them breaking.
That's right.
It's a lot easier. And attempt to make an even number for your sandwiches, or you can make an odd number and then have a snack.
That's right.
All right. So with that done, we're going to move on to our fingers. Cutting board to do this on. All right. Just not dirty our vinyl too much. All right. So we've got our dough that's been chilling, and then we left it out for a little bit just to warm slightly.
Yep. You want it to be nice and pliable, but you want it to still be on the cool side.
Would you get the? Oh no. All right. We've got our parchment lined pan. I'm gonna put this over here, I guess, for now. All right. So got our dough.
Oh, and let me give to you the other piece here.
And we have blanched almonds, which we couldn't find blanched almonds in the store, so Ori looked up how to make blanched almonds. Turns out way easier than you would have thought.
Yeah. Honestly, all you have to do is get water boiling, put them in there, let them be in the boiling water for 1 minute, immediately rinse them under cold water after that, and you can just pop the skins right off. It's wild.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend money on blanched almonds ever again. Do it yourself.
Okay. So I'm going to cut these into squares. You can cut, I don't know, usually do like 1 inch by 1 inch cubes, something in there. The size is pretty good. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you can add or subtract as you need. This dough is extremely pliable and extremely forgiving.
Yeah.
So don't stress out too much. And now we're going to shape our fingers. So I'm going to take one of my cubes and I'm going to start rolling it into a little worm.
Yeah, you want to go for about pinky size.
So you can use your own finger for reference. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And you have one end slightly narrower than the other, somewhere like this. And then I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit so we get a little bit more width. And then what I like to do is I like to take my pointer fingers and I'm going to, like this, and we're going to make the knuckles. So I'm going to push in and push in. Make 1 knuckle, 2 knuckles. And these will expand a little bit too, so if it looks a little skinny, it is okay. So like this, I'm going to hold it up. So here's our base finger worm shape situation. Okay, so now what you want to do, see if I can get close up. Hold on. Tech is happening.
Nice.
Okay, we have the technology. Okay, so now I'm going to go in. You can go in with a knife or a toothpick. Actually, it's a smaller knife. What about those guys? I'm gonna go ahead and make the knuckle grooves, so you know the knuckle has muscles in it. I'm going to make that, and I find the best way is just to look at your own knuckle and look at. So they're kind of, you can kind of see they curve around. So I'm gonna try and mimic that shape. Can they see?
Yeah, I think you can see it.
And then let's do a couple at the very tip, like this guy.
Elia says they have a Klingon bird of prey cookie cutter, and that is awesome. I love that.
That sounds perfect. So it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it looks more natural if it's not perfect. And then I'll show you guys like one or two of these.
Allegra is great with these because when I do them, I make them very straight and very like overly symmetrical, which no human finger has ever looked like. So I very much really love her judging on these.
All right, so
You want to lift that one up to the camera, let them see more closer.
that
There you go.
you will see, yeah. Just haphazard, little grooves, you know.
Little texture.
And then we're gonna take our blanched almond and we're gonna press it into the tip to make our nail. Et voila! Now it looks like a finger. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna put this on the tray and move on to another one. I'll make this one a little bigger so hopefully you guys can maybe see it a bit better. What I'm doing. This one's gonna be a tiny boy.
We have a comment from Molly that witches use their hands a lot, I imagine. Yeah, especially, you know, make them nice and wrinkly. Most witches are of a older status, a wiser age, as it were.
So, got our finger.
We have a comment from Lady Red Fox PhD, better nails than I have right now, which goes to the salon. When in doubt, use an almond.
It's true. All right, so here's a general finger shape. Knuckle to knuckles. And they look kind of skinny now, but when they bake, they'll puff up. So they will look less.
They'll have more definition if you make them a little bit thinner.
Yeah, you gotta overdo it so then when it bakes, it looks more realistic.
Besides, this way a little more twiggy. It's kind of a little bit more of that
Gangly,
gnarled, bony witch finger.
You know, salad finger vibes, Slender Man vibes. Okay. So let's see if we can really get it in here. This is dangerous.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
Perfect. Okay. So, my finger next to it for reference. One across. And then one this way. One that way. And then this one. That and that. And I like to do like one going across and then like stagger it and then do the other way. Like that. And then curve on the bottom. Perfect. All right, and then we take our almond.
Beautiful.
Ta-da! Ta-da! All right. Shall I do one more, or do you want to move on?
I think let's move on for time.
Okay.
So why don't we can share it, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go pull our bats out of the freezer.
I'll remove myself. So you probably don't need this.
You can bake them on this tray.
I'll do this. Scott.
So we have our frozen bats.
Just grab the whole hunk of dough and vacate the area.
Again, parchment being handy, I'm gonna slide these eyes off to the side.
Do you want me to zoom out, or should I leave it like that?
No, I think it's perfect. And I'm gonna set these here. So since we only need the 2 fingers, and very conveniently the bats and the fingers bake at the same time and temperature, we're gonna go ahead and have them share a pan. So now that we have this nice frozen dough, it's way easier to handle and keep the shape of the bats. So you can just pop them out and stagger them. So the fingers, you do want to have some space between them, but the bats really aren't going to spread. So if you're trying to bake off more bats at once, you can fit them in pretty tight to each other. My favorite here. What's that? You just trim this extra bit off. But this is what we were talking about before. You can take all these pieces and you can let them warm up again and rework them and re-roll them out if you want to make more bats. Or you can just bake them as they are, and they make great little snacks, great little crumbles to put over ice cream. Oh no, this bat lost me here. Uh-oh, that's okay. We love bats of all shapes and experiences.
They won't know. Nobody saw anything. It's
We love every bat
we're being
exactly
filmed.
as they are. So I'm just going to put enough of these on here to fill up the tray so that they bake nice and evenly. Oh, here we go. So these are going to bake at 325 for 12 minutes total, but halfway through you're going to want to turn them around. The witch's fingers cookies are pretty easy to keep an eye on. When you see they start to have a little browning around the bottom, they're good. The bat cookies, being so black, are a little bit harder to see when they're done, but you'll see it when they get this slightly puffed up, wrinkled texture on top. That's when they're usually done. But really, 325, 12 minutes total is pretty reliable. And I'm going to show you a trick. You're going to see that wrinkle texture, but we're going to smooth it out so we have a nice flat cookie to work with. One more bat and then into the oven. We'll take them to the bat hospital.
Speaking of bat hospitals, recently we went to a bat rescue presentation at our local botanical gardens.
Oh, it was
And
very cool.
This lovely woman had some bats that had been rescued and could no longer survive in the wild, so they were kept for educational purposes. And we saw 3 different kinds of bats. We saw
California bats.
We saw a Mexican free-tailed bat. We saw a large brown bat, and we saw a pallid bat. So 3 different kinds of bats, all very cute, all insect eaters, all local to California,
And all no really bigger than the size of an egg in terms of their body.
Yeah,
Just
all
little creatures.
very tiny. Like they're like, this big, and then their wings are like, out to here. Very, very cute.
Okay. So I
And-
set a 6-minute timer for those. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We're a baking panel, not a bat panel.
My dear, can I enlist you to
Yes.
do the white chocolate filling?
Yes.
So while those are baking, we're going to show you how to make your white chocolate filling for the bat sandwich cookies.
Okay. So for our white chocolate filling, very straightforward. Sorry, let me go to the camera. Actually,
Camera is good.
the other camera. All right. So we've got half a cup of white chocolate. We've got half a tablespoon of butter, and we've got a quarter cup. Yes,
quarter cup of heavy
a
cream.
quarter cup of heavy cream. So to start off, we're going to put actually the butter in with our white chocolate. Easy. And we're going to melt this in the microwave. The key to melting any kind of chocolate is to do it in spurts.
Yes.
So
Slowly, gently.
depending on the strength of your microwave, I usually start with 30 seconds. Check it, stir it, because it'll melt at different stages. The core will melt faster than the outside, and then you stir it, and you'll notice that some of the pieces will be melting than the other ones. And the ones that are melted will start to melt the other ones because of the heat. So you want to distribute the heat. If they're not all the way melted, another 30 seconds, mix and repeat until they are melted. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the microwave's over.
In the other corner.
So
She
we'll
will
be
return.
back.
So this is basically a white chocolate ganache. The butter is there to help give a little bit of richness, but the cream is going to get you to a perfect consistency. So once Allegra is done melting the white chocolate and the butter together, we're also going to heat up our cream here so it's nice and warm, slightly headed towards hot, but not boiling, just hot warm. And then we're going to mix them together until they're a really nice, even consistency. And then that also needs to go in the fridge. That needs to rest. You want to let this one cool until you achieve the right texture. So you'll see how thin it is when she's done mixing it. But this one we prepared in advance. It's almost the texture of like dulce de leche. You want it to have body. You want it to see that you can pipe it and it can hold its shape, basically. Yeah. This, it dawned on me today when I tasted it again. I was like, oh, of course this tastes great with the false Oreos, with the fake Oreos, as it were. Because it's basically just recreating a Hershey's cookies and cream bar, but as a sandwich cookie. So it's really, honestly, this is one of our favorites. It's really good. Very straightforward recipes, too.
It's like if Claire Stafford's made a Bon Appetit Oreo.
Right.
It's this. But we don't support Bon Appetit anymore.
That's true.
We don't talk about them in our house.
There are plenty of other food publications to which you can subscribe and give your money.
Oh, we love Claire. She has her own channel now and has her own cookbook and her own deal.
Yeah, plenty of great chefs have gone on to do their own things, so please give them your attention and support. And in the meantime, I'm just moving this prepared filling to a piping bag with a little tip attached to it. The tip is optional. It makes the little decorating I'm going to show you next easier. But if you don't have piping tips, all you have is like a plastic bag that you're going to use. That's also perfectly fine. Very good. It's going to get you where you need to go.
So our white chocolate has now melted. You're not really going to get a melted consistency. It kind of is more of a paste.
Yes, that's a very good clarification to make. Especially our white chocolate is older. Yours might be a little bit more fluid than this, but still, this is the consistency you want to get.
Mm-hmm. All right, so to that, first we need to heat up our heavy cream. This was a total, sorry. The chocolate took about a total of a minute, so 2 bursts of 30 seconds to fully melt. That will also vary depending on the power of your microwave. I just had it on high. So now I'm going to heat up our heavy cream so that it will continue to melt and amalgamate with our chocolate and butter. So this probably only needs 30 seconds. It's a very small amount. I don't know if you can hear me. Very small amount of heavy cream, so you want to watch it to make sure you don't scald it.
Right. If you see it bubbling up, that you can stop your microwave right there.
Yeah.
Ooh. Are you good? You had a surprising
Oh
one.
my god, it is. Oh, well. That's all right. Well.
Oh dear.
Well, that's all right. I'll take some more out. Okay. I think I should use that up. Anyways, it's fine. Nothing happened. You saw nothing.
You have more cream. All is well.
I don't know if it was
over the stove.
I don't know if the cup was. I don't know what happened.
We're just gonna do this.
But yes. Never a dull moment. This didn't happen during our practice round.
Well, sometimes things are just more exciting when they're live on, but it's true.
Alright, I will show you the halfway point on these guys really quick. So you can see our fingers are starting to puff up very nicely, and our bats are starting to puff up a little bit. I'm going to turn this around. Alright, now we're going to go back in.
And I have some new cream heating on the stove.
The microwave is now entirely coated with heavy cream, but we're not going to talk about it. That's for after panel me to worry about.
It's the worst things to happen in the kitchen.
Luckily, it didn't explode scalding hot milk in my face. So we're okay. Oh no. Yeah. You know, challenges. Microwaves are really finicky things.
Don't mind me, I'm a human who uses my hands for everything. I'm just gonna let this heat.
I'll stand in front of you so they can't see what you're doing. I'll stand right here so they can't see.
I'm happy with.
I can't see what you're doing.
I'm very a textural sensory person. I can do something with my hands. I will.
Yeah, Ori's not hesitant to just put their hands straight into whatever they're baking with, which for the most part is probably, I mean, your hands are on the ends of your arms for a reason, right? They're
If
like
you're
the most
washing your
practical.
dishes, you should be. It should not be an issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're the most practical and handy tool.
Your cream is ready, dear.
Fantastic. Okay. Cream, take two. So now we have our nice heated up cream. We're going to add that to our white chocolate and not burn myself. Doing my very best. Now, okay. Then I'm just going to mix this up until we get a nice consistency.
We're doing a little short on time, so
Do we have an hour and 15? Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go.
So these are some cooled bats we have ready. I have some nicer, smoother looking ones, and I have some noodles that have a little bit of defects. The ones with defects, I'm just going to turn over. Yes. And I have a piping bag full of filling. And I'm going to do a really cute technique for making a scallop border. So you just do little beads around the end. If you find that you have a thinner consistency, it may just be that it needs to cool a little bit more before you use it, but we are going to run with this today. So the ideal technique for making a really cute scallop head is piping a bead of it and pulling back. And if it were stiffer, it would hold a really cute scallop head, which you'll see in the photos and in our original YouTube video. But today we have a thinner consistency. So I'm just going to run with the alternative for a more modern bat, if you will, which is to go with that sleek, solid line. Oh, well, well, we're just having things going on today, guys.
You know what? It's okay.
So it goes, so it goes.
So here's some more frosting for you to look at. I just finished it. Yeah, that packing bag's about 15 years old. All right, let me get you a new plate. Oh, I got one already. I got one.
Do you need a new packing bag?
Yes. Okay. It should be down here.
I'll double back them.
Well, with the crimes partially hidden. We'll just leave it on this plate. It's not a spooky plate, but it shows you what we're going for. Not having luck with piping bags this year.
No.
When we did a trial run earlier, we had this same issue.
Not two? No velvet?
I think it should be okay. So, when that happens to you, you can always just put it in another piping bag.
Such is life. It happens. It happens. We thought we were so prepared. One down to you. This one, and I'll remove these crimes.
Okay, so let's do that again. You're gonna want to do your border. It is a rather thick filling, so understandable that sometimes it bursts. This is working quite a bit better.
There we go.
All right.
Perfect.
And voila. Bat number 2.
Bat number 2. Nothing went wrong. All right.
Oh yes, the finishing touches,
And
please.
yes. And so
You can take a little bit of icing and mix some red color into it, or if you have a little red writing pen, even better.
this is just much easier. You get a really strong red color and really easy to control. So I'm just going to gently make 2 more balls.
Really adding the little red eyes really gives it a lot of personality. Oh, thank you. Retro Game Chan says, have my melty heart for my melty chocolate. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I just love the little red eyes. It pops so well. Just makes them into little friends. Oh, and
All right,
there's
the other
our
half done. So there's our bat with our little red eyes. Looking good. All right, I'm gonna move this to the side so we can finish up our fingers. All right.
So to show you really quickly,
briefly.
this is the texture you're looking for them to be done. To get them smooth, you take the bottom of a cup and just press it very lightly, and it will smooth out that shape.
All right, so here are our fingers. These are cooled ones from the other day that we prepared ahead of time. So our jam doesn't melt off of them. I've just got some raspberry jam, and I believe there's a little bit of red food coloring mixed in here.
Oh yes, for a little extra
bloody effect. So the great thing about these is the nail will just pop right off.
Oh yeah.
And then, okay, I'm going to pop off the nails. And then I'm going to get a spoon.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to add a generous sized dollop in each one.
If you add a little extra when you put the nail back on, you're going to see a little extra effect.
Ooze out the sides.
Aria says, time for some bone juice.
And then you can add a little bit on the knuckles too if you so desire.
Yeah, it just depends how grimy you want your fingers to look.
And maybe if you don't want people handling their hands sticky, that's also fine. Yeah.
These are also great. You can just serve them with the jam, and people can just dip their fingers in them.
Like breadsticks. And there you have it.
There we have it. Spooky cookies for your spooky tea time. That's our oven. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really hope that you guys enjoyed everything.
Across the finish
And
line.
thank you for rolling with us during some of the hiccups here, but in the end, it always ends up fun, and they look really cute. So
yes, and it is. And if anything with baking or any hobby, as long as you're having fun and it tastes good, doesn't always matter if it tastes good. If you're having fun, that's all that matters. And we always have fun doing this with you guys. So thank you for watching. And this has been EGL Treats. I'm Allegra.
And I'm Ori.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.